they've been struggling without him really maintaining possession of the football, and their defense, quite frankly, is on the field way too long. And I think Carlos Hyde being back with the additions and the contributions of DeJuan Harris will help this offense get going, and they're going to need it if they're going to try to get a win on the road today.
Well, the Cardinals won the first meeting between these two teams in the NFC West. That was back in October in Santa Clara by a score of 33-21. Drew Stanton had started for Bruce Arians in that game. He threw a pair of touchdown passes to Larry Fitzgerald. And Chip Kelly's team, after starting the season with a win over the Rams, who won, by the way, today in New York, the team has lost 7 straight games. 49ers trying to end their losing skid. And ready to kick off. Bradley Pinion, Phil Dawson does the place kicking. Cardinals won the toss and downing it in the end zone, so they'll come out to the 25-yard line. Well, Carson Palmer said, when you come off a loss, the good thing is you want to get back out there as quick as you can, but they needed the week of rest.
Oh, they really did. They got beat up last week at Carolina. I mean, Carolina is struggling somewhat on defense. They showed up in force and got after Carson Palmer. 8 sacks, just too much. They got to find a way to protect him. And like I said, just said in the open, they got to get off to a much faster start today.
They have only scored 7 points in the opening quarter, one of 3 teams not to score on an opening drive this year. Jacksonville and the Giants, the other teams. And Johnson carries, and a healthy gain up across the 30. This 49er defense allowing, well, let's just say embarrassingly historical levels of rush yards, 193 per game, over 5.3 yards a carry on the ground. And even Bruce Arians, as much as he loves to go downfield, must be tempted to keep giving the ball to Johnson.
I think you're right, Chris. We'll see a lot of David Johnson. Not only as a runner, he's a great receiver. He has very favorable matchups against this somewhat undermanned, I'm going to say, 49ers defense.
Second down 4. Palmer with time, and just off the mark, going to tight end Jermaine Gresham.
You know, one of the things when you talk about this Cardinals offense getting off to a slow start is it's drops, it's missed opportunities in the passing game down the field, and come up with a 3rd and 4 to start this football game. It looks like another slow start if they're not able to convert here.
Completing just under 63% of his throws, only 10 touchdowns this season for Carson Palmer. Said, I can't force the deep throw if it's not there, although that's something they lived on last season, winning this NFC West.
I got 35.
On 3rd and 4 blitz, Palmer into a crowd, and it's knocked away, incomplete. He was trying to go to Larry Fitzgerald.
Well, got a lot of 49ers at the line of scrimmage, and Carson Palmer's forced to make a quick decision. Really good play by Jimmy Ward on Larry Fitzgerald. Some of these matchups, you know, I think Arizona has some favorable ones against that secondary. We'll see how this plays out as this game goes on.
Jeremy Curley back to receive. Fair catch called for just beyond the 26-yard line, and the 49er offense forcing a 3 and out. So Colin Kaepernick making his 4th start. In fact, in his last 16 starts, the team has lost 13 of those, 0-3 this year, but looked a little bit more comfortable in the loss last week.
Well, he was moving in and out of the pocket, and Colin will tell you he likes to be on the run. He actually told me it reminds him of backyard football. He likes seeing that green grass in front of him, give him options. You know, this Cardinals defense now is stout, they're fast, they're physical. I think they're going to try to pin their ears back and make Colin Kaepernick make a bunch of mistakes today. We'll see how it plays out.
On 1st down, Kaepernick likes to throw on the run and likes to run, sliding around the 30-yard line. He's averaging just under 8 yards a carry this season. And against a defense that statistically is ranked number 1, not points-wise, but by yardage-wise in the NFL. This Cardinal defense, and some of the players not even aware, ranked number 1 in defense. On 2nd and 8. Here comes a flag. Brad Allen is our referee.
Illegal block in the back, number 82 offense. That penalty is declined. Third down.
Cardinals got the opening kick, and after a 3-and-out by Chip Kelly's defense, the offense facing a third down after the penalty declined against the 49ers. Spotted just across the 25-yard line of the 49ers. Carlos Hyde back in the lineup after missing the last 2 games with a shoulder injury. Kaepernick to throw. Instead, he is sacked. He had time, but Chandler Jones came in for his 6th sack of the season.
What an addition Chandler Jones has been to this defense now. And there was nowhere for Colin Kaepernick to throw this football. Chandler Jones out here in his three-point stance, working on Joe Staley. Matchup of the day. This is the premium matchup. And this guy, when you give him that much time, he is going to eventually get to the quarterback. Colin Kaepernick could not hold that ball that long.
First couple of series of this game, the defense making a statement. John Brown on the punt from Bradley Pinion and run out of bounds, but better field position for this Arizona Cardinal offense. Carson Palmer at age 36 said he spends as much time rejuvenating his body as he does pretty much preparing for the opponent at this stage of his career.
I asked him if he feels old. He's got a little gray showing in his beard. He said it was the bleach from the sun. But yeah, you have to take care of yourself at this age. He looks good. His mechanics are still good. To me, it's just finding a way to complete some of these high volume plays. He just haven't been able to do it. Some of that's on his receivers. A lot of that is on the offensive line not giving him enough time.
0 for 2 in the passing department. Set up again. Down the middle of the field for Nelson. Looked like there was a tug, but no flag. Jimmy Ward on the coverage.
Let him play, Chris. I like this no call. There was a little contact. To me, he didn't look like he pulled him through. He was playing the football. Good no call.
Well, it looked like he had his right arm.
Yeah, I'm a DB.
I know. It never leaves you. 2nd down 10. Those are the things that have been missing from this offense, the big shots downfield.
Exactly right. Those 50-50 type balls. Not that was a 50-50 ball, but you got a streaky, your fastest receiver running down the field one-on-one with a DB and not able to connect.
Johnson carries just short of the 34.5-yard line. Ahmad Brooks on the tackle.
Ahmad Brooks needs to be this player all the time. Right here on the end of your line of scrimmage, just chasing the ball down. Sometimes these defensive ends, these outside linebackers for the 49ers get caught watching the football and don't play fast enough. But Ahmad Brooks makes a nice play there. Get more of that all day. This defense will improve.
Without Aaron Lynch and Eric Armstead, this 49er defense, Rashad Robinson in the secondary inactive. On 3rd and 7. Time for Palmer. Middle of the field, complete for a first down. Ball came out at the end at the 47-yard line. Antoine Bethea has it for San Francisco. J.J. Nelson caught it, but lost it.
The field is a completed pass for a catch followed by a fumble.
I think they're right. Good play by Reeser there, finishing that play. I mean, he was beat. It was going to be a first down. Placed through the football. That's a fumble. This 49er defense does not create a lot of turnovers. They get a big one here early.
Our field communicator in the teal, and all replays, like scoring plays, they review to make sure they are confirmed. And again, the ruling on the field, catch, fumble, 49er recovery. And they will go all the way through that process and communicate a thumbs up 49ers will take over on offense just across midfield.
Colin Kaepernick and his offense find themselves in a very, very advantageous position right now. And Carlos Hyde in the game, he hasn't touched it yet. Let's see if they get him the ball.
Hyde has it and gets down inside the 45-yard line. Carlos Hyde had a tremendous game in the opener when this 49er team crushed the Rams.
He's had durability issues. You know, he hasn't played a full season yet. Granted, you have an AC joint injury. It's a painful injury. They're better with him for sure, Chris.
After a 4-yard pickup, pass complete. Vance McDonald gets inside the 40. Going back to Hyde, starter in the first 6 games, rushed for 100-plus yards at Seattle week 3. Has range of motion back. Can he tolerate pain? That'll determine how much he can carry the football today. And he's in there on 3rd and short from the 41. He gets the pitch. Hyde will go down and lose yardage back at the 45-yard line.
Can't do this.
Swearinger.
Sorry, partner. You cannot do this on this Arizona defense. Try to get to the outside. They're just way too fast. Watch DJ Swearinger. You see him coming into your screen right here. Guy brings a lot of energy to this defense. He's starting today with Tyrann Mathieu out. And you're going to see a lot of those type of plays from him.
Patrick Peterson back to return the punt of Bradley Pinion. Fair catch called for inside the 10-yard line. Field position swing for this Cardinal offense. Impressive start for the 3rd-round pick of Northern Iowa, David Johnson. 21 total touchdowns in the last couple of seasons. That's most in the NFL. Over 2,100 yards from scrimmage the last couple of seasons. 2nd among running backs behind Devontae Freeman. 8 straight games with 100-plus yards from scrimmage. That's the longest active streak still going in the NFL. And his yardage total from scrimmage averaging an NFL high 139 a game against a defense that has been as porous against the run as one can be. So far, 2 carries for Johnson and 9 yards. He'll get a 3rd. There's nowhere to run. The 49er defense swarms him under.
Last week we had the 49ers game, and they started on defense very similar to the way they're starting now. Fast, quick. As the game goes on, though, when they start to tire, they start getting assignment errors, and you start seeing these gaps open up in large runs. But much like last week, they're off to a quick start here on that front 4 or 5 of this defensive line.
No gain from the 9-yard line of the Cardinals. Their 3rd possession, they had a 3-and-out, they had a catch and a turnover.
I got this. White 10!
Carson Palmer from his own 2-yard line down the middle of the field for Floyd. He's got it. Did he hang on? Ruled a catch. Rolling forward near the 44-yard line.
Well, they want more of this. This is Bruce Arians' MO, right? This is what he likes to do. Throw the ball down the football field. I got to tell you what, boys, this is a great catch.
A gain of 35. Quick snap to Johnson, who gets across the 45. Carson Palmer said without a doubt he hadn't lost trust, didn't waver a moment in Michael Floyd despite some drops earlier this year.
He actually told us that Michael Floyd's going to catch 40 balls the next 8 games of the season, and they quick snapped that play. Obviously, they didn't want this to come to replay, but I think that he maintained possession of that ball anyways.
Floyd, a free agent after this season. Ellington splits to the top of the screen as a receiver. Johnson, the running back, who's in motion now that direction. Palmer's pass complete middle of the field. Johnson still going inside the 40 of San Francisco. He's 2nd on the team now with 36 catches.
Well, he's the 2nd best option as receiver in his football team, and it's almost guaranteed when he motions out of the backfield, splits out, he's going to get the football. They love his matchup on anybody. If it's a linebacker, I mean, forget about it. They even like his matchups on DBs and expect a lot of David Johnson out of the backfield and catches.
After a gain of 16, Andre Ellington in for him. Carson Palmer for Fitzgerald, who lays out for the catch to the 21.
They're having a outdo you contest. Saw the Michael Floyd catch. I'm going to give that one a 9. Michael Floyd was a clear 10, but not bad for the old man, Larry Fitzgerald. What a catch.
Larry Fitzgerald, 188 games with at least a catch going all the way back to his rookie year of 2004. Among the best streaks in the league.
He does not get old. He absolutely is still the same player he was 4 years ago when I was playing.
Andre Ellington gets down inside the 18-yard line. 6.5-minute mark of this quarter.
It'll be interesting, Chris, to see how they use Andre Ellington today. We talked to Coach Arians, and he was saying they don't know really what to do with him. Obviously, David Johnson doesn't want to come out of the game. If you ask him, he wants to play every snap, but he has some ability, some breakaway ability. He's a good pass catcher. See how they gave him the ball there on a run. We'll see if they're able to use that.
Ellington worked at some receiver in practice because of the ankle injury to Fitzgerald this week. Palmer's pass to Larry, who looks healthy now. Shoved out of bounds. It'll bring up 3rd down. Cardinals talked about a fast start with their low numbers in the opening quarter. Bruce Arians, the off week, gave these guys a lot of extra time because he said we knew what we had to do and what we have to do. We're capable of going on winning streaks. We need to start one here. 3rd and 3. Fitzgerald for the first down. Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, our Fox crew here in Arizona, where it's been a defensive-dominated first half, or first quarter, I should say. A fumble takeaway by the 49er defense. They couldn't do anything with it. And now Carson Palmer has marched the Cardinals all the way down to the 5-yard line with a mix of mostly big throws and big catches.
Yeah, he's finding Larry Fitzgerald now. It's in the slot at the top of your screen. I would not be surprised to see him get the football right here. He has scored 16 of his epic number of touchdowns against the 49ers.
David Johnson, over 700 yards rushing coming into the game. And in this drive, it was Michael Floyd and then Larry Fitzgerald to keep this drive going.
Yeah, this has been a case of anything you can do, I can do better. And Larry Fitzgerald, we know he's the #1 target on this football team, but Michael Floyd, he's got to get involved. He's got to stay involved on this offense. He's had his problem with drops this year, but if they can get production back out of 15 on this offense, watch out for him.
2nd and goal. Fitzgerald at the line of scrimmage was held up. An excellent defensive play by Jimmy Ward.
Yeah, Jimmy Ward's having a nice start to his game here. At the line of scrimmage, you're allowed to hand fight. Good jam. Hands in his chest. Nowhere for Larry to go. Ball is thrown out of bounds anyways, but Jimmy Ward, he's got the challenge. It looks to me like he's the one following 11 around all day, and that'll be a matchup we'll have to keep an eye on.
Ward, a former first-round draft pick from Northern Illinois. On Fitzgerald on 3rd and goal.
Come on.
Palmer for David Johnson. It's a touchdown. Cardinals.
Well, you play man-to-man at your own peril down here. Watch Nick Ballore. He's in main coverage on David Johnson. You'll see the pick, the natural pick of the man-to-man coverage down. He got to run through that traffic at no chance. He has absolutely no chance. Easy throw and catch, and they get off to their fast start, Chris.
Scoring a touchdown in the opening quarter. That is the first receiving touchdown this season for running back David Johnson, who came into the league as an exceptional receiver out of college. Catanzaro the extra point. Carson Palmer delivers his 11th touchdown pass of the year, the 9th touchdown overall already for this guy.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
Arizona, some spectacular catches by Larry Fitzgerald, but they may have taken a toll since he came to the Cardinals sideline. He's been speaking with doctors, pointing to his ribs, where apparently he's experiencing some discomfort and pain. Chris, we'll keep you updated on any official diagnosis.
All right, thank you. 3 catches already for Larry Fitzgerald as Chandler Catanzaro ready to kick off. Ja'Cory Shepard back. He had 3 returns last week, averaged almost 35 yards a return, a spark for this 49er team, but the kick is deep and he'll have to down it. Setting up San Francisco's offense at the 25-yard line, trailing 7-0 after some exceptional catches by the Cardinals, including one in the end zone by Johnson.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
Bruce Arians and fans wanted a fast start at home. They have a 7-0 opening quarter lead. Carlos Hyde the back. Kaepernick throw complete just across the 30 to leading receiver for San Francisco, Curley, who lost the football, or was he ruled down? Swearinger was all over him.
Second down.
They're going to say rule that he's down. So it's not ruled a turnover, so it's not reviewed. There'd have to be a challenge if the Cardinals wanted to go that way. And the ruling on the field looks accurate.
Yeah, forward process. Well, Bruce is going to throw a red flag here, but forward progress being ruled stop, the play is going to be ruled over, and he's not going to be able to challenge this. And
Brad Allen may be explaining that so he doesn't waste the challenge.
Sorry, Coach.
He's 0 for 2 this year in challenges anyway.
Because the ruling on the field was that forward progress is stopped, that play is not reviewable by rule. Second down.
Thanks for confirming what we already said, Brad. Appreciate it. But yeah, that was it was a good play by DJ Swearinger, and that's what you're getting out of 36 on this Cardinals defense. Every time he's around the football, he's impactful, going after the ball, laying people out. And I know that Tyrann Mathieu is a big part of this defense, but you're not missing much of a beat with a guy like DJ playing the way he's been playing lately.
After all that, it's 2nd and 4. Knocked out of the backfield is Quentin Patton. Josh Morrow making the play.
Well, Josh Morrow's one of those guys that you don't hear a lot about. Standing up, number 97, tried to get the influence blocked by the tight end right there, but he didn't fall for it. Did his job, went right upfield, made a great play.
Free agent from Stanford. Now 3rd and 10 after a loss of 6. Kaepernick pass just short of the 30. Torrey Smith making the catch, but it'll be 4th down. Smith had the sore back. Hasn't missed a game, Rondé, in his 6-year career, but he has only 15 catches.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. This guy can't get involved in this offense. He's got deadly speed. I would just throw some balls up to him. Just put him on a go route. Maybe not against Patrick Peterson. Put him on a go route and see if he can make a play down the football field. It's what he's getting paid to do.
Bradley Pinion, 2nd most punts in the NFL this season. He only had to do it twice last week. John Brown calling for the fair catch. And the Cardinal offense will take over with just under 2 minutes to play in the opening quarter and protecting a 7-0 lead.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Nissan. Innovation that excites. By Verizon. Join a better network because better matters. And by Burger King. Now get 3 large pancakes for only 89 cents. Only at Burger King.
Roof closed once again. When is it ever really open for a Cardinal game?
Well, it's hot outside here. I'm glad this thing is closed. Seasonably hot.
6 out of 7 the last time they had the football was Carson Palmer. Johnson carries, and he finished with a touchdown catch, 22nd career touchdown already for the second-year player who really, I don't know if around the league he gets enough attention for all that he's done in the short time that he's been playing.
I think he will. I mean, he has spectacular runs. You've already seen today what he can be as a pass catcher. I think people here know exactly what they have in David Johnson. It's just a matter of time. He's a second-year player. He's certainly ascending. He is very, very unique, and the NFL world will know his name before too long.
6 carries today, only 15 yards on the ground. Here comes a flag.
False start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
John Wetzel, who's filling in for the injured Jared Valdir. A major blow, Bruce Arians losing his best offensive lineman.
Certainly is, and Wetzel, who started the last time these two teams played at guard, gets an opportunity to play his more natural position at left tackle. He's got a day today. I mean, he's got 2 good rushers on the outside. Ahmad Brooks will get on that side as well. Eli Harold's in there for Aaron Lynch. See how he stands up today.
After the penalty, 2nd and 13. Fitzgerald is back in the game. Catches and knockdown around the 25. Let's get a game break. Say hi to Carissa Thompson.
Hello, Chris. Dallas at Pittsburgh. Steelers trying to snap that 3-game losing streak. Ben Roethlisberger to Eli Rogers. Pittsburgh up 12-3 early in this one. Chris?
All right, thank you very much. The Cowboys started the season with a loss, then won 7 in a row. 49ers started the season with a win, but lost 7 in a row.
Mike 35. Mike 35.
3rd down and 5. Andre Ellington in.
What's the game?
Palmer, incomplete, trying to go to David Johnson. Complaining about his receiver maybe being held up. It's 4th down. What are you looking at with something else thrown in from Bruce Arians?
Well, he's arguing about the contact Eric Reed put on the running back out of the backfield, and I might not disagree with him.
I thought you were a defensive back. You were defending that a moment ago.
I'm fickle.
Jeremy Curley with some room, and he's loose. Here comes a flag, and he goes down, and the ball comes out, and the Cardinals have it inside their own 45-yard line. Gabe Martin has the fumble.
During the original return, there was an illegal block in the back by number 84, the return team. That penalty will be declined as the ruling on the field is a fumble with a recovery by the kicking team. First down.
Well, if it's not one thing, it's another with the 49ers. What a really good return here. Curley coughs it up at the end, and Arizona's back in business.
49ers lead and have the football at the end of 1 quarter here in Arizona. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Ruling on the field on the punt return by Curley is fumble and recovery for Arizona. Ryan Quigley, the punter, was the closest to him, Rondé, but I don't know if he touched him. Let's see after they reviewed it.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It is a fumble with recovery by Arizona. First down.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think that Quigley touched his body at all, and because of that, he's not down by contact when he hits the ground. So, yes, I think that's the correct call.
Michael Pereira, our rules analyst, confirms that watching back in Los Angeles. The ground does not always cause a fumble. Don't fall into that cliche.
I'm not a cliche guy. Did you say that? I didn't say that.
No, I just want to make sure people don't say the ground causes a fumble all the time. You don't fall into that. Just like the pylon doesn't go all the way around the world.
Yes, you do need to be touched down.
But 44-yard line as we change quarters, so they're going the other way, the Cardinals, with a 7-0 lead. Remember, for 49ers, 4 turnovers last week. They had one, they lost one today as Palmer comes out throwing and going for J.J. Nelson. Some fighting going on. Here comes a flag. They were hand fighting all the way down the field there with Jimmy Ward.
Well, I'm going to let you tell me if this is pass interference. A lot of contact on both sides. And
pass interference. Defense, number 25. By rule, the ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
Again, I say let him play.
Well, quarterbacks realize you throw the ball up there, you got a 50-50 chance of a catch and 50-50 of an interference.
And that's part of it. You know, a lot of teams take shots, especially when they have big wide receivers, because corners are mostly smaller. They don't have an opportunity to play the ball because they got to fight with the receiver all the way down the field. So, completion is just as good as a pass interference in this case. It's a big game for the Cardinals.
David Johnson. And David Johnson gets down near the goal line. Are they going to call it? Touchdown, Cardinals. There's a flag down.
Offside. Defense number 55. The penalty is declined. The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
An 18-yard run after that 38-yard penalty.
I have such a hard time classifying what type of runner David Johnson is. He's big and he's strong, but he has those quick feet. You saw that little stutter, put the defender one step behind him, and I think that is a great effort touchdown. We had that same situation, if you guys remember, on that tied game in Seattle, going to the pylon, and he did not reach out and touch it, and they didn't score, and they tied that football game. But this is a great effort by David Johnson.
Is under further review.
And of course, he has to maintain possession of that football into the pylon. We'll take a break and take another look.
Ruled a touchdown on the field, and the booth review to confirm. Ruled a touchdown. Mike Pereira, our rules analyst, taking a closer look as the booth is here in Arizona. Mike, what do you think?
Well, two things that Brad Allen's looking at is, number one, does he have control of the ball when it touches the pylon? Yes. Is that left toe down out of bounds before the ball breaks the plane, which I actually think it is. If you look at that left toe, just drags on the sideline before the ball touches the pylon, which would make him short.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Now, Mike, if that toe was in the air, if it wasn't down that you just referred to, then that's the reason this call stood.
Yeah, and that's clearly the shot from behind made it look like possibly it's in the air. To me, I think it's on the ground. But I will say one thing. We have said this week in and week out. If there's any question whatsoever, they're staying with the call on the field, and that's obviously what they did there. You can make a case the toe's down, but is it clear and obvious? Obviously in New York, and there they thought not.
Thank you, Mike Pereira. On for the extra point. Chandler Catanzaro to make it 14-0 early here in the second quarter. People at home, you still might be wondering, was it or was it not? But scored another touchdown for David Johnson. David Johnson taking over here with a touchdown catch and a touchdown run. And a guy who didn't want to leave the field. They might try putting him on defense, although they don't need
They don't need to.
The way this Cardinal defense is playing. Ja'Cory Shepherd back to return, and look at the total yards already. 14-0 Cardinals. Coming off the bye week, hoping to get to 500. That'll be a touchback out to the 25-yard line. Well, the Cardinals, defenders of the NFC West, and many thought of as a playoff team. Certainly the fast start, they wanted that, they got that, and for the 49ers in that 7-game losing skid, it's just more of the same.
It really is, and they're just not a good enough football team to overcome giveaways. They're dead last in the NFL, points off of giveaways. So if they give the ball away, the team is almost guaranteed to go down and score. They just aren't able to complement themselves very well. And if their offense can't get going, slow start, you just said it, 4 yards of total offense isn't going to get it done against a team that's getting that fast start for these Cardinals.
Colin Kaepernick called his last game here against this team the worst of his career as Carlos Hyde carries to the 30. That was a 47-7 loss when he threw 4 interceptions.
If you want to look at the unraveling of Colin Kaepernick, I think it was this game. He threw the 4 interceptions, 2 of them returned for touchdowns. The next week he goes to Green Bay, and he admitted that he played a little bit timid, didn't want to be the guy to cause them to lose a football game, and then he just spiraled out of control from there on out.
0-3 in starts this year. Following Blaine Gabbert as Kaepernick keeps and runs. The game referencing the interceptions. 2 were returned for touchdowns. It was an avalanche against this Arizona team, and Kaepernick did not recover. And neither have the 49ers.
I was to say, neither has the football team. You know, he was such a dynamic playmaker early in his career, and just that little bit of lack of confidence has absolutely destroyed him somewhat as a quarterback in this league.
On the run, he throws, and it's incomplete. Trying to go to Quentin Patton. Justin Bethel on the coverage. Patton coming off a career best game, over 100 receiving yards.
Well, this offense, when they have to start chasing the football game, you get out of the running mentality. You can't turn around and hand it off to Carlos Hyde. You put the game in the hands of the arm of Colin Kaepernick, and I just don't think that he's good enough to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game and win.
He may have to run 10 or 15 times to help this offense. On 2nd and 10. He has time. Open in the middle is Vance McDonald. McDonald all the way down inside the 30 of Arizona.
Vance McDonald, big game last week. Tight end at the top of your screen here, and just finds a way, sits down in the zone. Good job by Colin Kaepernick there, keeping his eyes available to the tight end. Delivers a good ball, and they pick up a big game.
32-yard pickup. He's had big plays this year, McDonald. A 75 and 65-yard touchdown catch.
Yeah, 20.
Spotted at the 28 of Arizona. Kaepernick got first down. Steps up in the pocket and completes. Rod Streeter with a catch good enough for a first down. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee.
And the rookies continue to lead Dallas. Dak Prescott, little screen pass to Ezekiel Elliott. This is on 2nd and 18. He goes to the house. 83 yards on the reception. Longest touchdown reception of Elliott's young career. Longest touchdown pass for Prescott. It's 12-10 in Pittsburgh. Chris?
Thank you, Kurt. We'll be keeping a close eye on that game. After a gain of 11 on first down, Kaepernick for the end zone. Wide open. Touchdown 49ers, Jeremy Curley.
Well, the one thing about Colin Kaepernick, you know you have to stay alive. Scramble plays in the secondary are just so difficult, and you're going to see some confusion here on this secondary. Marcus Cooper, number 41, drops the coverage, gets his eyes in the backfield. Can't be greedy. Get your eyes in the backfield, you lose your man, and Colin Kaepernick does a good job finding the open receiver.
That's his 5th touchdown pass of the season. Chip Kelly has defended him from the different surgeries in the offseason. Meanwhile, the Cardinal defense, that's only the 6th touchdown pass, fewest in the league coming in, that they've given up this year. Phil Dawson with the extra point. And Kaepernick brings the 49ers within 7 of the Cardinals here in Arizona.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet. More 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. By Papa John's, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL.
The theme for the Cardinals today was to flip the script, and it actually started 2 weeks ago on that plane ride home from Carolina when Calais Campbell, Larry Fitzgerald, Carson Palmer, and Patrick Peterson had a veterans meeting and decided to tell this team that, hey, adversity is a good thing. You haven't had to do it in the Bruce Arians era very much, but this year we're going to make it a positive and make that playoff run deep, Chris.
A 7-point lead in the second quarter with 2 men back to return and no chance. It'll come out to the 25-yard line. Cardinals have the football and a 14-7 lead here in the second quarter. Bruce Arians blew up at the half. He said for the first time since he was a coach at Temple back when this team was getting beat prior to their bye week by Carolina. Said some things were broken. He usually doesn't yell because people don't learn anything. You're not teaching when you're doing that. But the team responded better in the second half. And they've come out here with the lead as Brown catches across the 45-yard line.
You know, when this offense gets on rhythm, it is very, very hard to stop. And Carson Palmer is as good in the pocket with his mechanics as anybody. And when he hits that back foot and that ball comes out, DBs, I mean, unless they're guessing, almost got no chance to stop it. That was a good route by the receiver, good delivery by the quarterback, and a big gain on first down.
21-yard pickup. Palmer over 130 yards passing. Ellington in the backfield. David Johnson's touched the ball 9 times today. He already has 2 touchdowns. Ellington nowhere. Brought down at the 42, and Ahmad Brooks, who you pointed out earlier has to play big, has come up big again.
Well, the one thing talking to the 49ers that they know they need to do is penetrate more. Get these guys up front to run through some gaps and cause some disruption in the backfield. You know, when I watch them, I see a lot of these, their interior linemen just standing up, not finding gaps or, you know, causing any bouncing of the football. And right there, Ahmad Brooks does a good job, create some disruption.
After a loss of 3, under 11 minutes before the half. Fitzgerald. 3 49ers are in on him for a minimal gain. It started with Jimmy Ward, and then Tremaine Brock came over as well. One of the all-time great receivers. You mentioned, Rhonda, how he has consistently put up great numbers against the 49ers. He does it against everybody. As you look at the all-time reception list, of course, Jerry Rice, you put him on, I don't think anybody's ever going to catch him, but he moves ahead of Terrell Owens, the rest of those guys, Hall of Fame in front of him.
He's just a matter of time. Whatever, Mark 5 years after he decides to give up this game, and he'll be a Hall of Famer too, man.
If he's lost a step, it's still a half a step ahead of Father Time.
Nice.
That's a nice way of saying you're old. I was trying to be complimentary. Here comes some flags. In football years, of course, Rhonda.
Yes. Preface that.
Neutral zone infraction, number 58, defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Eli Harold, he got the start in place of the injured Aaron Lynch, and that's an easy penalty for
Eli Harold's a guy
Cardinals.
that needs to get some active. I mean, he's a fantastic athlete, fabulous athlete, but I don't see him getting in the backfield too much. He's got enough talent to challenge this left tackle over here, and you know, he's getting his first start at left tackle, Wetzel. Let's see if we can keep an eye on him, see if we can get some pressure on the quarterback.
3rd and 7, plenty of time for Palmer. There's a flag down, and he's going to run for the first down and slide at the 35 of San Francisco.
Well, it's going to be a holding call, Chris, but it doesn't matter. Carson Palmer doing something we don't very often see him do.
Holding. Defense, number 25. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
That calls on Jimmy Ward.
Yep, Jimmy Ward in the slot, talked about him working on Larry Fitzgerald. Larry's just a handful. He's good off the line of scrimmage. I think that's the right call as well, but Carson Palmer doing it with his legs, picking up first down.
He'll turn 37 years old in December. He picked up 16 yards from the 30 of the Niners. Palmer. Fitzgerald lost the ball. No catch. One of those rare moments where you don't see Larry Fitzgerald hang on to it.
Yeah, Larry has such strong hands. I mean, he's almost like a tight end. I mean, size-wise, his catch radius is ridiculous, but you know, it's a good play when you're knocking the ball out of Larry Fitzgerald's hands. He's a vacuum. Nothing ever falls out of his hands usually, but good play by the 49ers secondary there.
Larry, who went to the Pro Bowl last year, 9 times a Pro Bowler. A great season the Cardinals had last year, hoping to build off of that going forward. On 2nd and 10, Ellington has a receiver in the slot for Fitzgerald, and it's knocked away by Ward.
This ball was just a touch behind him, but seeing the good and the bad from Jimmy Ward. He's got a couple of interference penalties, but good drive on the ball. He sees it out, Nice play.
Brings up third down. That run by Carson Palmer of 16 yards, that's the longest run of Carson Palmer's career.
And then that surprises you?
Well, I asked him about when he ran for a touchdown last year and had trouble spiking the ball. He said that wasn't me. He tried to just disown that whole experience. 3rd and 10 from the 30. Fitzgerald has it just short of the first down marker. Dante Johnson was with him. Let's see if Bruce Arians is going for it or lining up for a field goal.
Again, good job by Dante Johnson getting Larry Fitzgerald on the ground, but that's a win for the 49ers defense. They were getting pushed down the field again. Carson Palmer finding his favorite receiver, Larry Johnson, but stop him short on third down, create a field goal opportunity. That's something they can go to sideline and be proud about.
So he had a 60-yarder this year, but fans will remember the misses against Seattle in that overtime tie, but this time from 39 yards. Chandler Catanzaro delivers for the Cardinals. Arizona with a 17-7 second quarter lead.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's.
With Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, glad you're watching the NFL on Fox. Ja'Cory Shepard ready to return the kick from Chandler Catanzaro here in Arizona. Hope you're enjoying Week 10. The Cardinals are so far after a week of rest. A 10-point lead. Will Shepard have a chance? He's coming out. And knocked out short of the 15-yard line. Excellent special teams play by Gabe Martin. Had a fumble recovery earlier. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during Salute to Service games, the NFL will donate to its military nonprofit partners, including the Pat Tillman Foundation, also the USO and the Wounded Warrior Project. You can visit NFL.com/salute. The local hero, a true hero, Pat Tillman, who wore number 40. And this past Sunday would have been his 40th birthday. And remembering him on their helmets, remembered often here. Kaepernick to throw, and incomplete. Last drive, when they went in for the touchdown, Kaepernick was 3 out of 4. They marched 75 yards, and he connected with Curley for the touchdown.
Well, Colin Kaepernick's able to extend plays. You know, he can make them in the passing game. But, you know, what this offense has done the last 2 weeks is had some really big, explosive passes. Vance McDonald has been the guy, too, who's shown up for his quarterback and had those crucial catches when they need him.
Carlos Hyde down at the 10-yard line.
These guys are so good up front. I mean, whether it's Calais Campbell, Peters, whoever, they play fast, they play aggressive, and you get yourself in a third and long situation, and watch out, James Beckter, the defensive coordinator, has his entire playbook to play with here. See if Colin Kaepernick's offense is able to deal with it.
'49ers with movement and a penalty.
Full start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Joshua Garnett, the rookie, give the crowd an assist on that one. Back at the 5-yard line. Need to get all the way up to the 24. From his own end zone on third down, Kaepernick is on target to Torrey Smith. And good enough for the first down.
Oh, there's that guy you're looking for. Torrey Smith hasn't been much of a factor. You said he only came in with 15 catches. Well, this is a big one. Watch the delivery. This is Cap at his best, hitting his back foot and just letting it, slinging it. Give your receiver a chance. Nice throw, nice catch, big first down completion. Keep this drive going now.
The calm of Kaepernick backed up in his own end zone with the crowd hollering. A pickup of 21 on third down. Now on first down, he dumps it off. That's Patton putting some moves on. Quentin Patton out of bounds, just short of the 40 with another first down.
Well, this is what we've seen of late. Collins found a rhythm, really has in the passing game, especially the short and intermediate. I say it week in and week out when I watch this guy. He doesn't like to push it down the field. He's inaccurate. But the stuff underneath, letting his playmakers make plays, they've been pretty good at it here this week and last.
He's 9 of 11, over 100 yards passing. After a pickup at 13, it's Patton in motion from the 39 of San Francisco. Carlos Hyde breaks a tackle, hesitates, and surges forward to about the 43. How comfortable does Carlos Hyde look to you after the layoff?
I think he looks good. That was a great 6-yard run. I mean, it looked like he was going to get tackled in the backfield. I love how physical he gets at to finish off runs, and I know that they've missed that element of this offense.
The numbers not impressive. He's working his way back into Chip Kelly's offense. DeJuan Harris, who brought a lot of energy and big plays last week, comes in at running back. Harris, the football stopped right away. It'll bring a third down.
Now, the challenge of playing a Chip Kelly offense, and the Arizona Cardinals have played them. They played Philly. Now they're looking at Colin Kaepernick, and you'll see him moving around, trying to give different looks, because that's the one thing Chip is really good at. When he figures out what you're in, then he can attack you. But to me, this Cardinal defense right now is giving him so many different looks. I don't think he can really lock in on what's going on yet.
Cardinals blitz more than any team in the league. On 3rd and 4, they look like they're coming, and they are. Kaepernick, catch made, Curley with a first down at the 48 of Arizona.
Good completion there, but the communication on this Cardinals defense right here is lost a little bit. Bring a guy in motion, they're playing man-to-man, and 2 guys cover 1, and Kaepernick finds the open receiver and converts that first down.
Without a huddle.
40 open or.
DeJuan Harris can't shake that tackle. Dale Buchanan, who leads the team in tackles.
Well, for a guy that's only 215 pounds, playing essentially middle linebacker, and he is impressive. He flies around, he strikes people right in the middle of your screen there, number 20. Shoots a gap, and just no chance for DeJuan Harris to come out of that tackle.
After a loss of 1. Kaepernick has run just twice so far today. Straight ahead Harris down to the 41. It'll bring a third down. DeJuan Harris piled up 142 yards from scrimmage last week in what was his first start of the season coming against the Saints. He had a touchdown on a 47-yard reception. On 3rd and 3, he remains the back. Kaepernick can run, but he's brought down short of the first down. A big play by Marcus Golden.
Well, again, this Cardinal defense giving so many different looks, and Colin Kaepernick just couldn't find a guy that he wanted to, but I think they're going to go for it here, Chris, and I don't disagree with this call.
You're down 10, you're on the road, you've lost 7 straight. Kaepernick completes for the first down. Vance McDonald with his third catch of the game for Chip Kelly. By the way, that S8, that card is really just a cover-up to throw people off from peeking in on his play sheet.
You know what they found here, though, Chris? They've got some rhythm going in the offense, and everybody wants to talk about them playing fast. They're not playing fast. They're playing smart. I like the way they're playing right now.
And playing without a huddle.
Well, the huddle puts stress on the defense because they can't substitute, and you feel like you're always under stress as a defender.
Harris into a crowd, maybe down to the 31-yard line, nearing the 2-minute warning. Each team still with 3 timeouts remaining. And we have reached the 2-minute warning in Arizona, just past the halfway point of the NFL season. Cardinals with a 17-7 lead, but the 49ers are threatening. For team all season long, go to itunes.com/NFL. Quentin Patton of the 49ers thanking the military and all the servicemen and women. Salute to the Troops Weekend and coming off Veterans Day. After going on 4th and getting it, the pass incomplete for Vance McDonald. Now it'll be 3rd down. Kaepernick 11 out of 14, 116 yards with a touchdown toss. Each team has suffered a turnover in this first half.
That's a nice drive here. 13 plays, very balanced. Seeing a little bit of what Colin has kind of emerged here in the last couple of weeks as a passer. The big 3rd down here. He's got to find a completion. Going to see man-to-man coverage from these Cardinals right now. Got to get a good throw.
Need 8 yards. If they get nothing, it's a 50-yard field goal try. Kaepernick is weaving his way down to the 30. Buchanan made sure he didn't get loose.
Well, like I said, you get off schedule, you get a 3rd and long, and you know they're going to blitz. They bring everybody. They have so much trust in their secondary to cover whoever on the other side, and you get that much pressure. Colin Kaepernick just had nowhere to go.
Cardinals use a timeout on 4th down and 6 with just over a minute and a half. Cardinals will have 2 remaining. 49ers have all 3. Phil Dawson to try from 49 yards. He is 29 of 29, under 50 yards. 11 of 12 this season. It's up and through. 49ers cut into the lead. It's only a 7-point game now. Chip Kelly was hoping his team would get a little closer so they might be able to go for it on 4th down. But on 4th and 6 with a guy like Phil Dawson, easy decision.
Well, Phil Dawson is like the weather here in Arizona. It's reliable. You know what you're going to get out of him.
Tomorrow night, National Geographic invites you to go to Mars. Join humankind's greatest adventure and find out how we made Mars home. The new series, Mars, premieres tomorrow night only on National Geographic. Well, for the Cardinals and their expectations, let's give the underdog 49ers some credit for hanging in there.
Well, they stay in every game. It's
in the first half.
It'll be interesting because they just continue to collapse late in football games. And you know, we've speculated that it's the wear, too many snaps on the defense, not enough points on offense. But last week, if they don't have that fumble by Mike Davis at the goal line against the Saints, I mean, that game is 1 score. They just continue to shoot themselves in the foot and see if they're able to keep it up. This hot start in the second half.
Britton Golden from the 1-yard line on the kickoff return, brought down just across the 17-yard line. Early game headlines on the Visa halftime report. The Packers shocked as Tennessee with the upset win, 47-25 over Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. The fine play of their young quarterback. The Rams beat the Jets 9-6. Denver beat New Orleans. Some of the results, the Buccaneers winning at home over Chicago, and Washington defeated the Vikings in D.C. Carolina had a lead but lost at home to Kansas City. And they'll show you highlights of that Steelers-Dallas game coming up on the Visa halftime report.
35-25.
Hey, set him good.
Set go.
Yeah.
Right, 10. Cut.
On first down, Carson Palmer for Floyd. Catch made right around the first down marker. David Johnson, who was given a breather the last series or two, is back into at running back.
Well, this is where good quarterbacks shine, and Carson Palmer's as good as anyone in 2-minute situations. He's got all these weapons to work with, David Johnson being one of them. Interesting to see what the 49ers try to do here on defense. They got their dime defense in, so Eric Reed is essentially playing linebacker in the middle of the field.
Need a yard on second down. Pressure coming. Palmer gets rid of it, and catch made by Michael Floyd. And wisely gets out of bounds to preserve time on the clock for the Cardinals, who still have those 2 timeouts.
Oh, there was a great rush on the outside, great rush on the inside, and offensive line kind of getting pierced right here. But Carson Palmer does a great job releasing this ball, and Michael Floyd, look at the route. In and out, gets the defender turned around. Good communication. Michael Floyd's having himself a little bit of a day here.
3 catches for him. Larry Fitzgerald, the game's leading receiver, with 6 catches.
What about 55?
On first down, Fitzgerald flipped in the air at the 45-yard line by Jimmy Ward. Andre Ellington comes into the backfield on 2nd and 3 from the 46. Clock running. Palmer firing. J.J. Nelson overthrown. There were 3 49ers back there. Clock stops at 3rd and 3.
Take a look at this hit here. Larry Fitzgerald went off the field after this and had the ribs early, gets tumbled up on his back and his neck. That looks like it could be a knee. To keep an eye on him, see how he's doing on the sideline.
And he was bothered by a sore ankle a bit during the week that he was able to rest in practice. Of course, the veterans like Carson Palmer and Fitzgerald get Wednesday as usually a day off of practice. He remains on the sideline. Palmer, catch made. John Brown held on to that. It's a first down. Still 2 timeouts, now under 40 to play.
Let's go. Run there. Go.
Pressure picked up. Palmer's catch. That's Floyd. Timeout Cardinals.
Well, I'm starting to believe he might actually get 40 catches in the last 8 games. Been targeted a bunch of them. He might get it today.
Timeout for the Cardinals. They'll have 1 remaining. Larry Fitzgerald headed to the locker room after taking that spill. He made a couple of big catches early. And this is the one, Rhonda, that has you concerned.
Yeah, I mean, that first catch definitely hurt his ribs, and he landed on his neck there, but they were looking at his knee on the sideline, and he's almost irreplaceable in this offense.
So J.J. Nelson, Michael Floyd, John Brown, your receivers. David Johnson, the running back. Floyd already has 4 catches in the game. For the end zone, and J.J. Nelson, no, he couldn't hold on. Keith Reeser back there in the coverage.
Good play by Keith Reeser. He is on an island right here, all by himself. There's a whole safety, but he's got to make this play. He doesn't get a lot of time out on the field. He's having to play with injuries. No panic here. Plays through the receiver's hands. Good play.
Cardinals with 1 timeout at the 26 of San Francisco. 18 seconds remain. 49ers get the football. At least Bruce Aaron's team will be kicking off to the 49ers to start the second half. Carson Palmer with a bullet on target. Nelson inside the 15. And timeout for the Cardinals. They'll have none remaining. A lot going on today. Crazy week 10. Let's check with Kurt in Los Angeles.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, the Minnesota Vikings disappoint with their 4th straight loss. The Eagles defense dominates as they soar past the Falcons, and Tennessee upsets Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. We've got all that and more, so we'll see you back here. Visa halftime.
Thanks, Kurt. Nice to see Terry and Howie watching closely, as we all will be, in highlights of that Dallas-Pittsburgh game.
Jim O'Neill, defensive coordinator, moved upstairs last week. He wanted a little vantage point. Actually asked him if he was going to stay up there, and he said, you know what, just depending on how it goes this week, he'll make a decision. It's week to week
Well,
right now.
The way his team has been playing in the second half, he may not want to see him from anywhere. But they have to dig in here on 1st and 10. Time for Carson Palmer on the move. Incomplete. There's a flag. He was trying to go to David Johnson. Eric Reed late.
Well, this is a tough one. I mean, he's beat originally.
Pass interference. Defense, number 35. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic. First down.
Because he doesn't turn and play the ball, that's the penalty. But trying to get back in, play through David Johnson's hands there, I mean, it's close. I mean, I understand why they called it, but I'll say it for the third time. Let him play, man.
Not a smart play from Reed. And now they're set up. Now only 6 seconds and no timeouts. So a 49ers stop. And we could end the half unless they come out throwing. And they do. Carson Palmer, bullet in the end zone, knocked away. Still 2 seconds remain. Jimmy Ward with a big play.
Jimmy Ward's all over the place today. I think that's his 3rd or 4th pass breakup. And he's working on a big tight end, and he's got to keep his eyes on his target. Good job not falling for that play fake. Almost a drop. Looked like tight end could have caught that. Hakeem Valles had that in his bucket and just wasn't able to hold on to it.
Chandler Catanzaro to try the field goal. Give Jim O'Neill and that defense credit. It's a major stop. Big swing in the points here.
Another stop in the red zone.
With 2 seconds, Bruce Arians opts for the sure points and gets him to again open up a 10-point lead. Cardinals with a 20-10 advantage, and again will be kicking off to start the second half to the 49ers. Let's head to Los Angeles for the Visa halftime report with Kurt Menefee and the guys. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. David Johnson exciting with a couple of touchdowns. Since the start of 2015, he has the most touchdowns in the NFL. And he has the Cardinals out in front of the 49ers as we get ready for the third quarter. That's today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Rodney Barber, Chris Myers getting ready to go here in this NFC West clash. Good to see Larry Fitzgerald moving. Looked like he had a knee brace on when he came out.
Yeah, it did. Big knee brace underneath that stocking now. You know, he's a guy that they just can't afford to lose, Chris. He does so much at that Z receiver, blocking, catching all those underneath passes from Carson Palmer.
Kaepernick, 11 out of 14 with a touchdown pass in the first half. And Ja'Cory Shepard, who last week gave the team quite a lift. They've been searching, Chip Kelly has, for somebody on the return team. Chip Kelly had him in Philadelphia. He was injured. Defensive back and healthier now. 6th round pick from Kansas. Hoping to set up the 49er offense if he gets the chance. Catanzaro, who is 2 for 2 in the field goal department. And he will down it, 25-yard line. Let's check in with Jennifer on Fitzgerald.
Well, Chris, the good news for Cardinals fans, Larry Fitzgerald is a full go this half. The Arizona athletic training staff did examine that knee at halftime. They said there's no damage, there's no worry as long as he keeps that knee brace on. I spoke with Bruce Arians, and he says there will be no restrictions on Larry. He wouldn't let him go if he was worried. So he will continue to be a big part of this offense this half, Chris, no doubt.
Well, thank you. And he was in the first half, Jennifer, with 7 catches to lead all receivers, good for 56 yards, some spectacular, some tough catches. But now it's about the 49ers on offense. The first half hasn't been their problem, Rondi. It's what happens in the second half during the 7-game losing streak. On first down, Kaepernick on the run. with room to run and slides around the 27-yard line. 49ers have been outscored 58-13 in the third quarter this year during this losing skid. Chip Kelly, when we said, was your team tiring, wearing down? He said, no. Second half, we've become one-dimensional most of those games.
That's exactly right. When you got to drop back and throw the football, it just takes the rhythm completely out of your offense, putting too much pressure on your quarterback. They just got to find a way to stay in games and give themselves a chance at the end.
Second down, 8. Throwing into coverage, Vance McDonald the target. It'll be third down. Buchanan on the coverage.
Daniel Buchanan right here in the middle in this primary coverage here. And he's a former safety, right? Playing linebacker. This is a fantastic reaction to the throw. QB key, ball out break. Nice pass defense.
Remember, this is the #1 defense statistically in the NFL coming into this Week 10. Measured by yards given up on 3rd and 8. Kaepernick will get away from one, but not the other. Brought down short of the 25 by Chandler Jones. Kevin Mitter got there first and slowed him down.
Yeah, when they can bring 6 guys, have primary coverage one-on-one by the 5 guys on the back end. I mean, quarterback has no chance. Just no way to get rid of it. He's got to get rid of the ball quicker. Guys aren't opening. He's holding it, and he's not going to run away from this defense.
Bradley Pinion, his second season punting for the 49ers. John Brown at his third for the Cardinals. It's his first year as their punt returner. Takes it out of bounds where the Cardinal offense, led by Carson Palmer, will take over.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By the all-new 2017 Ford Super Duty. This is the next level. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer.
Back here in Arizona, there's some big decision makers in the state. The great military veteran, John McCain, Senator, along with Steve Keim and the ownership of the Cardinals. David Johnson carries. Well, this 49er defense came in, Rondé, on the ground, allowing over 190 rush yards a game. And so far against David Johnson, who's been outstanding, he has scored, but at least they're not getting run over.
No, I mean, the last couple of weeks, it's been 200 yards, 200 yards, 200 yards rushing, but you got to give some credit to those guys up front. They don't have Eric Armstead, so Quentin Dials playing one defensive end. Seen a lot more snaps out of Glenn Dorsey at the nose tackle. I think that has helped them today.
Palmer, Jermaine Gresham, the tight end, with a catch inside the 40 of San Francisco. Well, I guess if you worry about stopping the run, Carson Palmer's going to pick you apart.
Well, you get Eric Reed man-to-man coverage here on Gresham. He just doesn't do a good enough job. Really good throw by Carson Palmer. You're going to go to the line quick here.
Palmer over 230 yards passing. Back to him after David Johnson had it. And there's Larry Fitzgerald. 49ers surrounding him. He gets all the way down inside the 6-yard line.
Larry Fitzgerald right here. Just the flea flicker. God, I can't get that out. David Johnson, you talked about them having an identity of running the ball. Well, give him the ball, toss it back, and Larry Fitzgerald looks none the worse to wear for that knee.
Flea flicker, it's easier to say than to do sometimes.
It is, right?
But it worked. And the numbers on Larry Fitzgerald, impressive. They always are, it seems, against this 49er team.
He's down. Mike's 50. These two set go. 180. What?
Palmer knocked back and knocked down at the 18-yard line. DeForest Buckner, the first-round draft pick from Oregon. First sack of the game for this 49er team. Remember, it was 8 sacks for Carson Palmer in their last game 2 weeks ago against Carolina.
Watch DeForest Buckner right here in the middle just push this pocket, and he doesn't get the sack, or he gets the sack here, but it's Quentin Dial, that's pushing the pocket and forces Carson Palmer to bounce back. And DeForest Buckner, the first-round draft picks, played almost every snap on defense last week. He's got some expectations on him. A young guy to have to play that much inside is difficult, but he's handling it pretty well.
Palmer out of the pocket. Pressure coming, and the ball's loose. And the 49ers are on it. Ruled a fumble on the field, and recovery, San Francisco. Eli Harold forced that fumble and recovered by Buckner.
Yeah, good hustle play by Eli Harold. And I got to tell you, Carson Palmer's got to get rid of that football. Got to feel the shadow of the defender coming into to make that play. You know he's not going to outrun anybody.
Ronald Blair, actually got there first. Or actually, between him and Buckner, they recovered that ball. But you're right, it looked like Palmer had time.
He had time. Didn't have a receiver open in the back of the end zone. But sometimes you just got to give up on a play, get rid of the ball, live the fight the next down. They needed a takeaway in this red area, and this is 3 good stops now by this 49er defense. 2 that resulted in field goals, and now they get the ball back for their offense.
Second takeaway for the 49er defense today. From the 20. Kaepernick to throw. Going deep for Quentin Patton. And he's got it! Down to the 35 of Arizona.
Justin Bethel's having to play corner, usually just a special teams guy, and Quentin Patton just distanced him. He's got a step and a half. This ball's out in front. This is a big touchdown. Mistimes his jump too, Chris. He was in good position there at the end. He was catching up. But nice big play, explosive play for this 49ers offense. We've just seen a lot of them the last couple of weeks now.
Gain of 45 yards. Chip Kelly says that Patton has become a reliable target. He brings energy every game. Carlos Hyde back in the game, gets down to the 30. 49er offense between Patton, Vance McDonald, Torrey Smith, and Carlos Hyde along with Kaepernick.
Yeah, last week it was DeJuan Harris and Vance McDonald with the big completions and runs. And give this Kaepernick some time. He's finding some receivers and some big plays in this offense.
From the 30 on 2nd and 5. Kaepernick running to his right. And getting rid of it. It'll be 3rd down. From the 30-yard line. Dwan Harris, the running back. Kaepernick goes down at the 35-yard line. Alex Okafor looked like Calais Campbell and Marcus Golden circled around.
Just a lot of bodies around him. And again, just nowhere. This is Okafor right here. Nowhere for Colin Kaepernick to deliver this ball. And just look at the relentless effort of everybody up front. Okafor gets the benefit of the pocket being pushed by Calais Campbell. But yes, if he can't get the ball out of his hands faster, it's going to be more of this, the same. These guys are too good up front.
Swearinger firing up the defense. Now that field goal try is from 53 yards for Phil Dawson. It's up there, it's out there, and it's good there. He is 1 field goal away from 400 in his amazing career, and he appreciates it. After the takeaway by the 49ers, Phil Dawson on the field goal, and it's now a 7-point game. Over 300 total yards of offense for the Cardinals, and yet it's a 1-score game. Britton Golden knocked down short of the 23-yard line. This season, Fox and the NFL celebrating football families. Game days, bringing families together. That's the Diaz-Garcia family sharing with us today their first ever Cardinal game as a family, hosted by Fox and the NFL. They got to hang with Rondé and I and work the siren. Senior airman Jan Diaz-Garcia, his wife Lorraine, and little Gabriella enjoying today's game and, of course, enjoying seats for our Salute to Service weekend. We thank him and all our military for all the good they do. Football family and America's family. 8.5 to go here in the third. David Johnson. Need to fight hard not to lose more yards there.
Yeah, nothing there. Just stretching out the run plays. David Johnson has no gaps to do what he does best. Again, give some credit where it's due. Now, Quentin Dial is having a good game at defensive end. He was the guy that had the bust last week that led to that big explosive run. But they're doing a good job here today.
And David Johnson came in averaging 4.5 yards a carry. This 49er defense has kept him under 4 yards, at least on the 9 carries he has. Still has a couple of touchdowns. On 2nd and 11, the tight end, Jermaine Gresham. You know, Larry Fitzgerald this week was asked about the identity of this team during the bye week and where they were, and he said, we're really a running offense first. That's what we do.
Well, I think I mean, in Bruce Arians' heart, he wants to throw the football. So does Carson Palmer. But when you have a guy like David Johnson, who is so explosive, who can hit a home run every time he gets the football, you got to go. The offense has to go through him, and I think that's the realization, and that's where Larry was coming from with that comment.
And it helps protect Carson Palmer as well. Floyd looked like his arm was grabbed. Here come flags from all different directions. Brock was all over him.
I can't excuse him here. This is pass interference of the utmost.
Pass interference, defense number 26. By rule, the ball is placed at the spot of the foul, automatic. First down.
That was holding, pass interference all in one, and 3 flags went down. I think every official on the field saw that one.
Well, Floyd was not targeted with a single pass in the last game at Carolina. That's another target today. He has 4 catches, and with that penalty, they move the ball up to the 37-yard line at a first down. Carson Palmer looks the other way and completes. Jermaine Gresham, who's been busy in the last quarter and a half.
And just an observation of this 49ers defense, they're playing some different body. You know, Michael Wilhoit's in it, linebacker. Shane Scove, who we thought would get some snaps at linebacker a few weeks ago, was also in it, linebacker for Nick Ballore. So they're experimenting. You know, Jim O'Neill is trying to find some combination guys that can play. So far today, I'd say they've had some success.
Johnson on 2nd and 9, runs into a wall. His 10th carry of the game. And the 49ers stingy. Remember, they have that string of 100-yard rushers, 7 straight games, which is an NFL record. And part of that is David Johnson after their earlier meeting.
Well, again, just there's penetration up front. I haven't seen it in games past from this 49ers defensive front. But I'm seeing bodies get bounced back on the offensive line of the Cardinals, and that's why they're struggling to run the football.
6 defensive backs on 3rd and 8. Johnson in motion. Ellington, the running back. Palmer to throw from the back heels and knocked away. And it's Keith Reeser who's been active with Jimmy Ward all day.
Really has been, and you know, he's a young guy that had to play a little bit before, but you know, it helps that he has help, safety over the top help here. He's just playing 2-man with safety help over top, so he can sit on that underneath throw. Good pass breakup again by Keith Reeser.
Jeremy Curley, Ryan quickly to punt. No fair catch from Curley. Spun out of bounds around the 20-yard line. The underdog 49ers in the bottom of the NFC West, hanging in there with the Cardinals.
Today's game is sponsored by the all-new 2017 Ford Super Duty. This is the next level.
Well, the 49ers are trying to end that 7-game losing skid after shutting out their opponent in their first game to win. The first pro football team since the 1925 Dayton Triangles to accomplish such a strange note. And no, Dick Stockton was not there to call that game. I just want to clarify. You know, I kid. Why do I care? Because, well, I care. First out, 49ers. Carlos Hyde hadn't done much.
This guy definitely played in that game.
And he looks angry about it.
That's an obscure stat. How do we find that one?
We have people that is their job to research all during the week.
It's an excellent stat.
Good stuff. 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Hyde going backwards. There was nowhere for him to go.
Really nowhere to go. I mean, Carlos Hyde has to stop and stutter here because look at Garrett right there getting knocked backwards like Xavier Williams and completely destroyed that running play.
Yeah, you wonder why DeJuan Harris, who's now in the game.
Yeah, haven't seen much of him. Explosive and as much energy he brought last week. Hasn't had that many snaps today.
After a loss of 3, it's 3rd and 11. Kaepernick unloads. Way out of bounds. Quentin Patton was in the area code, but it's 4th down.
Well, they had a nice second series, drive down the field and get the field goal here, but you know, this is another problem that the 49ers have. They have so many 3-and-outs. You know, and not talking the defense. We talk about why they fade, and Chip can say because they're behind in games. Well, they're not that far behind in games, but when you have 3-and-outs on offense, it's really straining your defense.
Bradley Pinion. Britton Golden from his 30 and straight ahead for 5 yards. That's where the Cardinal offense will take over. Cardinal offense still looking for those big explosive plays. With his yardage today, Larry Fitzgerald on the all-time receiving yardage list. Andre Johnson, of course, announcing his retirement earlier this year, so he's 11th at the moment. His 13th pro season and toughing it out today with 8 catches for 88 yards. From the 35, Carson Palmer hesitates and gets rid of it.
Wanted to take a shot there, Carson Palmer did, trying to get J.J. Nelson down the field, but good coverage by Tremaine Brock over the top of this. And you know, you talk about wanting explosive plays. This was a good decision by Carson Palmer. The DB is in much better shape than his receiver, so he's forced to throw it away.
Yeah. Nice 5-1. 5195. Check go. Light 10. Got it.
Carson Palmer to throw again and knocked away from Larry Fitzgerald. Reed making the play that time. It's 3rd and 10.
Eric Reed, good play, man. He is the guy, the last meeting that they chose to match up on Larry Fitzgerald because of the size. You know, Larry's huge. Eric Reed is athletic enough to play on tight ends and on bigger wide receivers. When you have a guy this versatile, you can do a lot on the defense. I know they're trying to play him in a lot of different spots. That was a good play there.
Looks like Ron, they helped me count 7 defensive backs for the 49ers. Maybe they'll play Reed in that linebacker spot, as you tell me in your notes. Buffet is very deep. One of those safeties on 3rd and 10. On the move, out of the hands, and intercepted. It's picked off by Eric Reed. A ball that should have been caught by J.J. Nelson.
Good concentration here, man. Eric Reed is covering David Johnson, and David Johnson streaking down the sideline. But tips and overthrows. Best way if you're a DB to get an interception, and good play by Eric Reed. You're right, though, Chris. That should have been a completion. J.J. Nelson had him hit it in the pads. Secured the ball. Another takeaway for the 49ers defense.
That is 3 today. and in good field position at the 40, trailing by 7. For Carson Palmer, that was only his 7th interception this season. And again, not his fault. Hyde remains in the backfield for San Francisco. He's carried 9 times for only 7 yards. Has lost yardage on a number of carries. Kaepernick is loose. And Kaepernick goes out of bounds around the 30.
Slippery. Very slippery, Colin Kaepernick is. His pocket's been collapsing around him all day long, and Calais Campbell does a great job. Look at that height, just swims the guard. And thought he's down there. He thought Marcus Golden had a chance there, but an athlete that can run is always dangerous.
He picked up 9. Throwing for the end zone, and Quentin Patton just never really developed. Patrick Peterson, you don't usually want to go in that area if you can help it.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't know that we've called his name all day. He's sitting out there at left corner, and don't try that again. He said, don't try that again.
And if you were wondering, it's ruled uncatchable, so that's why there was no flag. But facing a 3rd and 1 from the 31. Kaepernick for Curley. He makes the catch, first down, out of bounds, inside the 28 of Arizona.
Big conversion there, and 2nd and short. It's almost always a shot play, and they took the shot knowing that they trusted themselves to go for it on 3rd. Actually, they probably would have went for it on 4th down, I think, if they weren't to convert there. Chip Kelly's shown willingness to do that a couple of times already today.
See the numbers on Kaepernick. He came in barely a 52% pass completion mark this year. A bullet incomplete. Chris Harper, who was just added off the Patriots practice squad from California after Keyshawn Martin was released, and they did not connect.
This is a laser. Chris got to catch that right to his head. Chris Harper's got to come down with that ball.
Sean Drone, make that DeJuan Harris in the backfield on 2nd down 10. He gets the football, has some blocks. There's a flag, there's another flag, and he goes out of bounds at the 20.
Holding, offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Right here. And yes, this is a hold. Trying to set that edge, give your runner some room, but he had his hands tucked inside. That's easy call for that official there.
And for a team that we remind everybody every week how they are the fewest team penalized, but boy, today they've had some big ones in rough spots. That's the 7th penalty, over 80 yards of penalties. And so 2nd and 20 from the 38. Kaepernick with room. There's a flag down again as he'll go all the way down to the 20-yard line.
Holding, offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Now some of that's on center Daniel Kilgore. You got to know where Kaepernick is going and what's going on back there.
Just watch him. Thought he was good here. He's working off the double team. They don't usually call holds, but
no, that was close.
That was close, yeah. I didn't really see that. I mean, I know that's the flag came in right away. The official behind thought he saw exactly what he saw, but I'm not so sure about that one. But anyways, San Francisco now 2nd and 30. It's hard to get back on schedule from this down in distance. Wouldn't be surprised to see them just try to get 5-10 yards here.
Trying to get in field goal range as Kaepernick keeps And gains a few before going out of bounds.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Utmost importance now if you're 49ers is to protect the football. Don't take chances moving it down the field and potentially take away a scoring opportunity, because we know what Phil Dawson could do if he gets in field goal range.
Yeah, he's going to need maybe 10, 12 yards for Dawson to have a legitimate chance at a field goal try. For Quentin Patton, and it's 4th down. And too long here, it'd be a 60-plus. Even though we're indoors, Chip Kelly doesn't want that happening in a one-score game, so the punter, Bradley Pinion, trots out.
Could take advantage of that takeaway. Good field position. They end up way behind where the turnover happened.
The back-to-back holding penalties pushed him the other way. Patrick Peterson back. Fair catch called for on the punt from Pinion around the 12-yard line of Arizona. But the second half, which has been a sore spot for the 49ers, not so bad today, even though they trail by 7 in Arizona. Saturday in the Pac-12, Arizona State, the Sun Devils taking on the 4th-ranked Huskies, although that'll change. Coverage 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. See it live or on Fox Sports Go. Plenty of upsets, a landslide of upsets yesterday around college football. Carson Palmer's USC Trojans with a big win over Washington, and that pass incomplete. Gresham the target. The 49ers, did they make an adjustment here from the first half, Rondé, as to why this defense seems to be doing a better job of keeping the Cardinals from moving the ball?
Well, much like Arizona's had issues, throwing and catching the football at times, they're going through a slow spell right now. And yes, you got to give credit to San Francisco because they're stopping the run, forcing Cardinals to throw the ball in 3rd and long situations, and they're getting off the field. So a much improved performance today from Jim O'Neill's defense.
Carson Palmer looks one way, throws to Fitzgerald the other way, short of the 20-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down. Carson Palmer did not start the first game between these teams back in Week 5, but he is coming off back-to-back 300-yard passing performances. Even though they lost to Carolina, he did throw for 3 touchdowns in that game and over 360 yards. He's nearing 280 at this point, and it looks like the Cardinals are willing to let this thing run out and take it to the 4th quarter. Arizona with a 7-point lead and the football over the 49ers. That's the end of 3. We're glad you're watching the NFL on Fox. Disguised as the defending champs of the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals off the bye week, trying to get their record to 4-4-1. 49ers hanging in there on the road, trying to end a 7-game losing skid. 55 yards from scrimmage for David Johnson today. Passes to Fitzgerald, who's been busy, lunging for that first down. Let's see. He doesn't like the spot.
I don't like the spot. I thought he got that ball over that line to gain there. I mean, you're a talented player, but there's no substitute for effort. That's a great effort play by Larry Fitzgerald.
This is a guy who's been beat up all day with sore ribs, a sore knee, and came in with a sore ankle.
I mean, if they want to challenge, I'd throw it here.
Well, the officiating crew is discussing it, so maybe he's getting some help from referee Brad Allen, who says 1st down. That's what they should do when somebody's not sure or somebody has a better angle.
Yes, they're more intelligent together. Good job.
But look at Larry go with that 6'3" frame, and knew where he had to go. Every possession vital in a 1-score game.
Just very reliable. When you need a catch, when you need the big catch, the tough catch, it's going to go to Larry Fitzgerald. It's just the way this offense has always been in his new role, not new role now anymore. Under Bruce's offense, he gets so many of those opportunities. Not so much down the field anymore, but he's going to win for you when you need him.
10 catches, 99 yards for Fitzgerald. And That's David Johnson trying to stiff arm. He gets to the 31 with that catch. Let's get a game break and check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, for the first time today, the Dallas Cowboys have the lead at Pittsburgh. Dak Prescott looking up with Dez Bryant, 50-yard score. Bryant, 116 yards receiving and that touchdown, playing the day after his father passed away. 23-18 right now, Dallas with the lead. Chris, Rondé, and Jed.
Thank you, Kurt. The standings of the NFC East with the Redskins winning today. Giants have the Bengals on Monday night. David Johnson. And again, there's just not been the running room that we've seen other teams open up against this 49er defense.
Again, I think it's the number of snaps they're not playing, right? They're only at 45 or 50-some snaps on defense, and that's good. Last week they had, I mean, all considerations, I think they were high 70s in snap count, and it's just too much. But yes, again, reiterate, this defense is playing much better today. They got a 3rd and 1 here. Heavy package for the Cardinals on offense. See if they turn around and hand this thing off. Or if they try some trickery and get out of the pocket with Carson Palmer.
Right ahead, David Johnson. Did not look like he got there.
Antoine Bethea made a great play here, man. Right here. Watch him submarine this play. Takes out the legs of the runner. And he's definitely short of that line of game. Good job again by this San Francisco defense.
Antoine Bethea, a Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champ when he was with the Colts, closing in on 1,000 career tackles. And frustration for both Carson Palmer and Bruce Arians. They are aggressive offensive minds. They don't like giving the ball back here. Under 12 and a half to play.
Well, they're leaving San Fran in the game. You know, this is a game, if you're a Cardinal fan, Cardinal player, you come in feeling like you have to win this thing. But right now, defense of the 49ers is giving them a chance.
Jeremy Curley with the fair catch on the punt at the 26-yard line, where the 49ers take over trailing by 7.
Today's game is sponsored by Audi. See exceptional offers on select models during the Season of Audi sales event. And by Burger King. Now get 3 large pancakes for only 89 cents only at Burger King.
Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, out with the shoulder injury. Tony Jefferson, Swearinger in for Mathieu. Jefferson, one of those who was surprised when he heard that the Cardinals have the #1 defense in the league statistically. His Hyde is brought down by that defense.
Well, you want to know why they have the #1 defense in the league is because of this. Just guys running into the backfield and making plays. I mean, this defense just flies around. They're so talented up front. I mean, you talk to Calais Campbell and all these other guys, and it's Morrow, who you don't hear much about, but he's made a bunch of plays in the backfield today.
Kaepernick at a crowd, catch made, but not good enough for the first down by Jeremy Curley.
Yeah, with Tyrann Mathieu out of the football game, it's DJ Swearinger, Tony Jefferson, I think Chris having a great season. By all metrics, I mean, he's been a very reliable defender and having to play a bigger role. Those 2 safeties today with the Honey Badger out with that shoulder injury.
On 3rd and 1, maybe up to this Arizona defense today to get them to 500. Carlos Hyde, and here comes a flag late as he fought to get what looked like was enough for the first down. Holding penalties crushed Chip Kelly's team last time on offense.
I don't know what this penalty is. This flag came from way out of the back of the secondary.
There is no foul for defensive holding. The result of the play is a first down.
You rarely see defensive holding.
It's hard to
call.
Yeah, even when it happens, but even when it does happen, it's hard to find.
Tough yards for Hyde, good enough for the first down.
That's amazing. I thought they would be more productive running the football today with Carlos Hyde. He's certainly got fresh legs, but DeJuan Harris in the football game now has been a spark for this offense the last couple of weeks. See if we can get him involved here.
Kaepernick's throw incomplete for Rod Streeter. It'll be second down. DeJuan Harris played last week. Of the 60 offensive snaps, he was in for 53 of them. and really showed a burst of energy. Also caught a football and took it in for a touchdown at 47 yards. The free agent from Troy has kicked around teams. As the second-round pick from Ohio State looks on. Mike Davis is inactive for this game. He had the fumble, the costly fumble, in the second half last week for San Francisco. Harris fights hard to get to the 41.
Another big third down for San Francisco. We talked about some of their futility. Chris and I, during that last break, they only scored 16 points all year in the third quarter. They've been a little bit better in the fourth quarter, but they got to find a way to sustain drives. Got to get a first down here.
Kaepernick with a bullet, and he held onto it in the crowd. Jeremy Curley with a first down catch. He came in as the leading receiver, but it cooled when they made the change from Gabbert to Kaepernick.
Really good throw. That was a really good throw. Nice catch in traffic, too, by Curley.
Curley's 6th catch of the game to lead all 49er receivers. Kaepernick fakes to Hyde and gets out of bounds after gaining a couple. Tony Jefferson, who is a free agent after this year, having a career year, ran him out of bounds.
Yeah, there were times when Kaepernick would get that kind of play and it would be gone. I don't know that he's slowed down. I know he wasn't healthy much of the offseason, had a bunch of those surgeries or whatnot. He's only in his 4th game back, but I almost expect when he gets an edge that he's just going to explode, but I really haven't seen it since he's been back starting quarterback.
Those numbers go with 8 rushes for 32 yards. Carlos Hyde falls forward, pushing his way to about the 47. It'll still bring up a third down. One thing that 49ers are doing is they're chewing up the clock.
Yeah, and more importantly, keeping their defense off the field. Keep putting themselves in these third and medium situations, though, and so far it's been Curley who showed up to get some timely catches. He's in the slot up top. See if Colin Kaepernick decides to go to his main receiver again.
Pressure coming. Had to get rid of it early. And Quentin Patton on the sideline, out of bounds, even though he hauled in the pass.
Close, but definitely out of bounds. Justin Bethel again in coverage. He's the guy that's having to play with Tyrann Mathieu out. They needed another DB to come in on these passing situations, so it's been Bethel and
Kelly encouraging his quarterback. Patrick Peterson standing at the 10. Bradley Pinion with a kick, fair catch call for it. Lets it go, and it sticks, and is down inside the 5. Marcus Cromartie getting down there as Peterson opted to let it go. The 49ers hanging in there on the road in Arizona. Cardinals have the football with just over 8 to play. An improvement you've talked about, whether they score or not, it certainly helps the defense.
Talk about the number of snaps and then talk about the depth on this roster. They just don't have it, so being on the field that long just never really works out for them.
Carson Palmer from his own end zone. A low throw, but the catch made. Jermaine Gresham, his 4th catch of the game. A healthy pickup on first down. There's the old Bruce Arians, Carson Palmer, not afraid to throw from their own goal line.
No, they got to get out of the shadow here. I mean, a drive here for Arizona, could be somewhat of a killer to this game. But 49ers backed up situation, still got a chance to keep them down here. Been playing pretty good so far today.
David Johnson, can he get the first down? There's a flag down, and he goes down in a hurry. And he didn't even get, as Eli Harold led the charge, near the first down marker. That's a hold against the against the Cardinals.
Holding. Offense number 84. Half the distance to the goal. Remains second down.
You know what's happening today? They're doing a really good job. Watch Eli Hero here doing a good job setting the edge of the defense. Jim O'Neill told me that's where they've been failing, and that's where the hold is, really not giving the runner an opportunity to stretch the ball to the boundary. And good job by these two outside linebackers today doing their job better than they have in the past couple of weeks.
Ball spotted just beyond the 7-yard line. David Johnson on second down goes down. It'll be third down. They need to get up near just short of the 15-yard line to get the first down.
Well, you came into this game thinking just turn around, hand the ball to David Johnson, watch him do what everybody else has done. Well, not so fast, Arizona. This 49ers defense, Glenn Dorsey on that play, just really stepping up their game here and to be successful. I mean, I played on a lot of good defenses, and we had good pass defenders and good linebackers or whatnot, but it always starts up front.
They've held him to 3 yards a carry. There were people talking about David Johnson having a 200-yard rushing day against this 49er defense. A tipping point, 3rd and 5. Carson Palmer gets rid of it and incomplete. There's a flag down.
Holding. Defense number 25. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Jimmy Ward's done a lot of good things today, but you gotta play with your hands or your feet, not your hands here. You see him with his eyes in the backfield. He's trying to eye the quarterback as well as covering the man, and you just can't do that.
Only a couple penalties against Arizona. And look what the 49ers have lost yardage-wise. 100 yards in penalties. And a fresh set of downs for Bruce Arians.
That was big. They had him where they wanted. Backed up. They're going to have to punt, get favorable field position. Instead, they get a first down and steal the ball.
John Brown. And Reed brought him down short of the 25-yard line.
He had a lot of space out there. I mean, Eric Reed was covering him from the other side of the field, had to run through the wash of his defense, and that looked like it could have been a huge play. But a good hustle play by Eric Reed. You'll see him right here on the side of your screen running around his linebackers, and if John Brown breaks that tackle, he's got a blocker out front with Michael Floyd. That would have been an enormous game.
They picked up 10. Clock running, 5.5 to go. David Johnson on first down. There's a big, strong push across the 31-yard line. David Johnson, when you talk about how to describe him, I know the 49ers have done a nice job. We heard everything from a little Marshall Faulk, a little Edgerrin James. Bruce Arians said sometimes he runs like Marcus Allen. He can catch the ball.
I can't compare him to anybody. I've not seen a guy run like he does. He's got this little, I don't even know what it is, like a stutter hesitation in his running style that puts defenders on edge and stops their feet. He just runs around them. He's good, man. He's really good.
And a strong pickup on first down. He'll get it again. But it'll be third down.
Nothing. I mean, coming off the games that we've done with San Francisco the past couple of days, you would never think we'd come into this game saying you can't run the ball against these guys. But right now, you cannot run the ball against these guys.
49er defense allowing an average of 37 points a game heading into the halfway point of the season, and they've held the explosive Cardinals to 20.
Another big third down opportunity to stop here. You know, Arizona wants this clock to keep ticking. 4 minutes left in this game. This is a crucial stop. Needed stop for San Fran.
Palmer throwing. He only needs 3 yards for Fitzgerald, who has it at a first down. He's over 100 yards with his 11th catch of the game.
I mean, this is about as guaranteed as anything. Good throw. It was a natural pick set up by the outside receiver, and That's a 50-50 ball. Throw it up to 11. Let your future Hall of Fame receiver make the tough catch on third down.
And for Carson Palmer, third straight 300-yard game. His fourth this season. And when they needed it most, it's intercepted. Gerald Hodges with the pick, and he's still going.
Carson Palmer's done this a couple of times this year when I've watched film. Locks in on a receiver. Watch Gerald Hodges, number 51, reading his eyes the whole way, coming in behind him. Fourth takeaway for the San Francisco defense.
And the second interception of the season for Gerald Hodges.
Today's game is sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the network built for unlimited data.
49ers had a 4 takeaway game against Carolina on the road earlier this year. They have 4 today and a big one. Kaepernick throwing, open, Curley. Catch made, and he stayed in according to the official, yes. Inside the 35 of Arizona.
Well, last week I thought Colin Kaepernick did a great job throwing the football out of the pocket. And this is a tough throw, moving to his left, delivers a bullet. Look at the spiral on that, and a fantastic catch.
They wanted to snap it quickly in case that extra foot. There was a review too late now at the 3-minute mark. Let's go back to throwing on first down. You saw, in case you were wondering, Bruce Arians said, hey, it was my bad on Carson Palmer. He calls the plays, and that led to the turnover with the Hodges interception.
Yeah, I think he got a little impatient. You know, they're trying to run the clock out, obviously, but they haven't been able to run the football. You would think you just turn and hand it off, but you got a little impatient. The play caller did, and San Francisco exploded and took advantage of it, got another takeaway, and have the ball in great position now.
Kaepernick dropped. Should have been caught. It was a low throw, but Torrey Smith might have been able to score on that.
Oh my goodness. Torrey Smith got to catch this football now. Got to catch this football.
This was moments ago after the interception thrown by Carson Palmer. Now the defense. It's up to the Arizona defense. 3rd and 8 for Kaepernick. Are they bringing the extra pressure? Picked up. He can run for the first down, and he does. Down the sideline, Kaepernick.
There's the burst you expect from Kaepernick out of the pocket. And Calais Campbell, no chance to stop him there. You know, at the end of the day, when you have a quarterback like this, you want to give him these opportunities. Told me, again, he likes playing with green grass in front of him because he has the option to throw it to a receiver or use his God-given ability and run for a big first down there.
He picked up 19. He's the leading rusher for the 49ers in today's game, averaging over 5.5 a carry. First down from the 12 of Arizona. Timeout. And the 49ers use one of theirs. They'll have 2 remaining plus the 2-minute warning. Arizona has not allowed a touchdown after halftime in its last 3 games. There's the defensive coordinator hoping to make it 4 on first down.
San Fran's got to drive here. Which one of these defenders, much talented group on defense, is going to stand up, make a play here, and win this football game?
Torrey Smith, who had the big drop, is in motion. Kaepernick had the big run. For the end zone, just a little long for Carlos Hyde.
Just out of the reach.
If he had floated that a little bit more, Hyde was open.
Yeah.
And Chip knew it.
Good route combination. He came all the way out of the backfield to be a receiver there, and man, got your best plays drawn up. You get in the red zone. Obviously, this is 4-down territory for San Francisco. Chip Kelly looking at that play card. He's trying to figure out a way for this offense to get in the end zone here. Keep an eye on his tight ends. They've been reliable for Colin Kaepernick.
Dwan Harris in the game at running back. Kaepernick rolls that way, throws to his tight end. Vance McDonald bowling over some people, gets inside the 5, and that should take us to the 2-minute warning. He's short of the first down. With 2 minutes to go, Arizona protecting a 7-point lead, but the 49ers are closing in.
Today's game is sponsored by Subway. Try the classic Reuben stacked with corned beef. Limited time only.
Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Well, even though it's 3rd and 2, this Cardinal defense blitzes more than anybody. Should they do that here?
I would be shocked if they didn't blitz. They trust their defenders to play man-to-man defense on the outside. They do not care. Expect a lot of pressure. And if you're Colin Kaepernick in this offense, I would say they got to get some pocket movement. Put the ball in Seven's hands. Let him make a decision.
He can run for a first down before a touchdown. On 3rd and 2, pressure coming. He's turning the corner. Kaepernick is in the end zone for a touchdown, San Francisco.
Nothing James Baxter can do there. Great play design by the 49ers. They put all 3 receivers on the other side of the field. They move in, putting Patton here to block the edge to protect the quarterback's backside. And then, like I said, give the ball to your best athlete on offense and make a play for you. Great play call.
Dale Buchanan came in blitzing, but Kaepernick turned the corner on him. And the extra point from 41-year-old Phil Dawson to tie this game with 1:55 to go in the 4th. And it's good.
Two-minute football. Every game, not every game, but most every game, Chris, comes down to this situation in the game. And the Arizona Cardinals last year won a bunch of these games. Close games they won. This year, they've been in this situation and haven't found a way to get it done. You got a really good player. You got Larry Fitzgerald. You have David Johnson. I think they're able to go down and score a get a game-winning score on this drive.
Well, a field goal here or a field goal there, they could have beaten New England and Seattle instead of ending up tied in that game. But what a game for Fitzgerald, 11 catches, 118 yards. But remember, Carson Palmer called Michael Floyd the X factor, and he has been active in this game, not lately, because the Cardinals have scored nothing in the second half, but he might be the go-to guy here with under 2 to play.
It's, well, who can deal with the pressure best? We know that they have those type of players on the Cardinals offense. The question now you got to be asking yourself, do the 49ers defense, do they have the gumption really to stand up here, play the way they've been playing all day, getting stops, and hold this Cardinal offense down on this side of the field, maybe even give themselves a chance to win it.
And Chandler Catanzaro maybe sweating it out. Ellington from the 1-yard line. A big win for the 49ers special teams. They pin them inside the 15. Well, 5 early games decided by 7 points or less. And the afternoon games are tight. The Eagles win a battle with the Falcons and Matt Ryan. Told you Green Bay lost at Tennessee. Washington beat Minnesota. Vikings at a tailspin. The OT coming up after us with the gang. All the highlights, post-game comments. Miami won in San Diego. The Dolphins beat the Chargers. They have a big game against the Rams, who won today. Seattle plays tonight in the NFC West, but at New England. Fitzgerald can't have one-handed. It's 2nd and 10. So you got to be careful down here, right? You can be aggressive, Rondé, but a quick 3 and out, and then you give the 49ers a chance in regulation to win.
You do not want that. And I would imagine if you're San Francisco, you're having 2 guys look at number 11 on this drive. That time it was Jimmy Ward and Eric Reed bracketing Larry Fitzgerald. He is the biggest threat. I know Carson Palmer and him have like a mind meld. They're always on the same page. Bottom of your screen right here.
Carson Palmer in trouble for Floyd, the X Factor. A spectacular catch and slow to get up.
Good improvised play by Carson Palmer. Ridiculously good catch. And I'm not sure how he held on to this after his head hit the ground here.
Ruled a catch on the field, under 2 to play. We hope he's okay. Under 2 minutes, it's an automatic booth review. The officials double checking their call on the field that it was a catch by Michael Floyd, who was helped over to the sideline after.
Well, I think it's called a catch on the field. There's not a lot of conclusive evidence in the pictures that we saw in the break. This is the best picture that we got. See the ball there. He definitely has it when he hits the ground, but it's just not a lot to see for them to overturn this, I think. And Chip Kelly's reaction, I think, tells you what Brad Allen's going to say right now.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It's a complete catch. First down. First charge timeout for Arizona due to the injury.
Well, it was a big play that Carson Palmer, he's got Fitzgerald, but he told us when we watched him at practice after on Friday that Michael Floyd was a guy who he had confidence in, despite what has gone on earlier in the year, and when they needed it most, a healthy pickup to the 41 and a first down. 2 timeouts for each team.
Injury, they have 2 remain.
5 catches for Floyd. He's over 100 yards along with Fitzgerald. Carson Palmer underneath to David Johnson. And he leans forward, falling at the 49 of Arizona. Clock continues to run.
Technique time if you're on defense here. Don't try to do more than you already have done all game long. Stick to what you've been doing. Patient, come up and make tackles.
Fitzgerald inside the 40 down to the 37 of San Francisco. His 18th target today, equaling his career high.
Well, they called a blitz, and again, when you pressure Carson Palmer, him and Larry Fitzgerald almost always see the same thing on defense, and he just hits his hot receiver. Reliable, tough, big catch, big first down.
Chandler Catanzaro, a mixed season. It's been good today twice, but 3 field goals missed, including 2 in that 6-6 tie with Seattle. Michael Floyd is checked back in. Him and Fitzgerald have combined for 233 yards of receiving today.
You know, Larry Fitzgerald's never going to wow you with numbers anymore as far as yards per catch. I think he's averaging less than 10 yards a carry, completion, but 12 catches, 132 yards. I mean, man, this guy is unbelievable.
Palmer, sideline throw, incomplete. He was going to Floyd again. Jimmy Ward on the coverage.
Well, when you get out of phase as a defensive back, this is exactly how you play this deal. You're beat. You don't have time to look, run through his hands with your hand, does not interfere with them. Great play. There's been some really good pass breakups by these 49er corners today. Another one there, much needed.
49ers heavy underdogs, trying to end their 7-game skid going toe-to-toe with the defending champions of the NFC West. David Johnson, and that's been the story all day with him and this 49er defense. It'll be third down. Timeout 49ers. Larry Fitzgerald, what a day. We said coming in, he's had a career against the 49ers. Left early, had some bruised ribs, hurt his knee. 12 catches, over 130 yards, some key catches when they needed it.
Some spectacular catches. Him and Michael Floyd today. Arizona right now, I'm wondering, are they playing for a field goal here with that run there on second down?
So right now you're looking, excuse me, Rondé, at about a 53-yard field goal if they gain nothing. The worst thing they want is a sack or a turnover here if you're Arizona.
But I'm always, you got a play caller and a head coach on their sideline, and Bruce Arians, who likes to be aggressive. It would surprise me if they play this safe, turn around and hand the ball off. And at some point you got to trust your offense, the one that was so explosive last year, to make an explosive play for you this year. See what they got going here, what they got cooking on 3rd and 8.
Catanzaro has made a 60-yard field goal this season. It's the longest in the NFL this year. Third and 8. Palmer rolling and throwing, and right on target, David Johnson.
Well, here you go. If you're Carson Palmer, this is what you get to see. You get to see 50 clearly covering your running back. That is a mismatch of epic proportions. Sprint out, good ball, first down, David Johnson. He is as good as a receiver when you line him up outside. And they were playing man-to-man, and they had the matchup they want. Big first down.
Nick Bellore couldn't stay with him. 5 catches for David Johnson. 46 yards to go with 48 yards on the ground. After they pick up 12, Johnson straight ahead. Each team with just one timeout. 49ers will use one here. With Rondé Barber, Chris Myers. Hope you're enjoying the NFL on Fox. We've mentioned the up and down season for Chandler Catanzaro. 47-yarder with 41 seconds left against New England in week 1. In overtime, he hit the left upright on a 26-yarder. And that'll tell you, would have won the game. Of course, there was also one block. And again, he has made from 60 yards. That was against Buffalo.
Well,
we're inside of 40 right now if they had to line up and kick it.
That week 1 miss is very similar to this. They played for the field goal opportunity instead of trying to go for the score, and it came back to haunt them. They had a new snapper at that point, and that was partly responsible for that miss.
David Johnson making it a little bit easier. All the way down inside the 15. 49ers are out of timeouts. It's a first down.
Well, trying to describe David Johnson, this is it right here. Watch his moves in the hole. This stuttered hesitation. Feet are off the ground. Look at that jump cut right there. Back the other way. He does so many things well, man. For a young guy that's big, strong, quick feet, it's awesome to watch him run the football.
16 seconds remain. 87% career mark for Catanzaro. He's made from 39 and 19 today.
Well, I got to tell you what, too, Chris. All day they've been struggling running the football. When they needed a big run, offensive line finally stepped up. Your runner, your special, very special, unique runner, makes a couple of good moves, picks up some much-needed yardage, gets you in field goal range. And now all Carson Palmer has to do, get 3 spikes here, make sure you're on the preferred field hash mark for Catanzaro. Go kick this field goal.
They swarm in on David Johnson. And they're going to wait and call their last timeout so that the game will be won by Arizona on this kick, or a tie game going to overtime. After this game, bonus coverage of the Cowboys in Pittsburgh. That's been a back and forth game. The Steelers leading that by 1, but only 30 seconds left there.
Really good drive here. I mean, you got to give credit to San Francisco. I mean, everybody expected this to be a blowout of type of game. Their offense wasn't performing well. Their defense was getting run through, but they stood up. And to have a chance to win it at the end, is very impressive. Defense wasn't able to get the stop, though.
34 yards away for the win. And the crowd in Arizona. Larry Fitzgerald said we're capable of going on a winning streak. They get their record to 4-4-1.